What's up, ladies and non-ladies? It is Cerealkiler back again, and today we're going to see if we can add one more thing to the long list of things that Gildong is amazing at. I've finally been able to get to TOA 100 on the female boss rotation. I made it through Leo Ragdoll on 94, but I did not come up with a good team, so I will be going back to Leo Ragdoll. I really want a team that I can go in and just say, okay, I'm going to go in with these 5 monsters, do this thing, and then Leo Ragdoll dies. The way I got through it this month was basically just throwing a bunch of monsters and energy at him until they accidentally died, which to me is not acceptable. So we'll further the Leo Ragdoll adventures later. Once I figure out a way to kill him that is not terrible, I'll go ahead and make a video for you guys so you can see that as well. Now, as far as this is my first TOA 100 female hard boss. I've killed her on normal a couple times, but I've never killed Leo Ragdoll on hard, so this is the first time I've actually been able to get to her. Surprisingly, there were 0 issues on 95 to 99. There's just a bunch of teams that I Gildonged with these 5 people, and we're going to go ahead and try to Gildong the boss itself. A lot of the issues with the boss come from the towers, and I'm hoping to alleviate a lot of that with Gildong. So when we get to the boss, we'll go over that stuff. For right now, we'll concentrate on killing the trash. The first wave to me is much more annoying than the second wave. Luckily, the attack stats on this first wave isn't so bad. I'm basically just forced to let the Junos punch me in the face the whole time. If you put 2 dots on the Junos, they'll cleanse, or 2 debuffs at all, they'll cleanse themselves and then heal the whole team for 40 billion. So if you put Baretta dots up, they'll actually heal the team for more than they hurt. If you end up taunting them or stunning them, you can do one of those things, but you can't taunt them and slow them, or it'll heal them for a bunch. So I've decided that the Spectra slow is the most efficient single debuff I can put on the Junos, and then I just pile everything into the Annabelles one at a time. The Junos end up just doing whatever they want, until it's time to kill them, but it's not too bad. It's pretty healable compared to some other things. So now that we've got both the Nickies down, we've got to pick a Juno and basically make that Juno our bitch. So we're going to go for the middle one, because the middle one has the lowest attack bar. Now the Juno that we are currently killing is not allowed to get a turn. If it gets a turn, it'll heal itself and the rest of the team for 42 billion, and then we got to start all over. So we're going to want to focus on Spectra pushbacks, Basalt pushbacks, and Baretta pushbacks to try to just keep this middle one from never moving. Now we've got a Gildong armor break to speed things up, and we've got a Spectra skill 2 to destroy this guy, and then we're just gonna nickel and dime him to death with the rest of the team. And notice we're just avoiding the outside, the perimeter Junos. We're hitting them with Basalt pushbacks. My Basalt is not Despair. Yours probably shouldn't either be. But because mine's not Despair, I can hit the outer Junos and I don't have to worry about putting a debuff up on them. And the Spectra AoE slow only applies slow, and then I'm not using the Baretta AoE, which is just unfortunate, but that's how we gotta do this. So now we've moved over to this right one, so we can start stacking debuffs on her. Luckily, this gets easier as you go. Now I've only got 1 Juno that's just going to have free reign to do whatever she wants. And that's actually important, because toward the end of this wave, you have to start saving all of your skills so that when you walk into the next wave, you can just walk all over it. Now the next wave, without a good CC team, can be quite problematic. I'm envisioning this team just murder facing the wave 2. I can't imagine what they could possibly do to me. Maybe we'll knock on some wood there. Hopefully I don't have to eat my words. But I just can't fathom what the Veramos and Arya are going to do to this team. If this team was going to have a problem on the trash, it was going to be right now in the beginning where all three, well, a little while ago, where all three Junos were up. From here on out, it's just a matter of not getting anxious and making a mistake, and then not wasting cooldowns on this Juno that you're going to need in the next wave, but not letting this Juno destroy you by not using your cooldowns. And I find when I'm doing just my regular TOA floors, that's probably one of the most kind of fluid or non-exact things is, right now where there's only one monster left, when do I stop using my cooldowns? Because you want to use them as long as possible, but still have them available for the next wave. Looks like we got this one timed pretty well. I'm probably about now going to stop. I think I can just punch her a little bit. She'll come out of... Oh, I can't let her come out of stun. I gotta kill her before she gets a turn. Most monsters you get an entire free attack bar worth of turns, but the Juno will heal if you let her do that, so that's not an option. So now here, if all goes as planned, we'll massacre this team. It looks like we're gonna have one Arya doing whatever. Fucking... He got the slow on the first turn, so he stunned that right one that Spectra missed. Beautiful. I love that little rice farmer. He is the greatest thing ever. So from here, it's pretty much just going to look like this the whole fight, where all five of them are standing there doing absolutely nothing. I think we'll kill the Veramos first, just because they're going to keep pulling dots off, so they'll slow things down. Whereas the Arya is not going to do anything when her turn cycles. So we'll pick the left Veramos, then probably the right Veramos, and then probably just whichever Arya has the most dots on it at this point. This floor right here is probably about as good of an example as why Gildong and his friends are amazing as possible. So many people complain about this floor. This floor is not going to do anything to me. I would be surprised if anyone's going to do anything other than like an broken attack into a taunted Basalt or Mav. I've held Gildong stun twice because the other monsters are just still stunned from the first time, so it would have been a waste. Probably, I want that left one. I would have liked the left one to come out of stun and then used it again, but we'll go ahead and stun the two on the right, and then we got a whole nother turn to cycle through with those two guys on the left. I think that Veramos on the left, yeah, the Veramos on the left is dead. And now we gotta decide, I'm thinking that left Arya is a little more tempting, just because it's lower, but the right Arya is the right Veramos is the one that's gonna be pulling dots off of stuff. So when stuff's not stunned, you'll see that I spread taunt and attack break onto stuff, because if stuff is stunned, then I take 0 damage. If it's attack broken, I take almost 0 damage, and if it's taunted and attack broken, might as well be stunned. You prevent them from using any weird obnoxious skills with the taunt, and the attack break essentially turns off the damage, and then added to the fact that it's hitting either Basalt or Mav, who are both pretty tanky, you can basically write that off. If I've got, right now 3 things stunned, 1 guy taunted, 1 guy attack broken, I'm not worried about stunning that taunted attack broken guy at all. Unless it's going to do, if it's a Bernard that's going to cast, Tailwind or something weird like that, then yeah, a stun is worth more value. But as far as incoming damage, you might as well write him off. Now that right Veramos is dead, speaking of writing stuff off, and looks like nothing else is dead. That left Arya is close, but I think she needs a little bit more. Maybe she is dead. I kind of want to... Let's find out. I think the left Arya is dead. It's always kind of a guessing game to match up the dots to their health bar. We'll see if I got that one right. So the left Arya is dead, and now the right Arya should also be dead. The middle one is definitely not dead. So we are going to switch to our conservation phase. We're going to start auto-attacking stuff to death and make sure that we go into the next wave, which in this case is the big bad scary boss wave, with all of our abilities ready to be utilized. So first let's go over the abilities real quick and then we'll talk strategy. Now, this is her basic auto attack, not really anything we can control there. Here's her kind of scary damaging ability. This thing hits relatively hard and then it's a 3-turn armor break, so you don't want her doing this and then taking heavy damage afterwards. Now this is her split, which is kind of her core fancy important mechanic, but the odd thing here is that she will also remove all debuffs from herself when she casts that split. That's going to be very important because you're going to want to keep that in mind. You don't want to waste your debuffs on her before she's done the split, because she'll just pull them right back off when she does do the split. Now here's where it gets a little confusing, but it's actually not so bad once you break it down. When I first ran into this chick on TOA normal, I looked at this and I'm like, oh, it's just a mess of shit. I don't know what to do with this. But when you really read it all and break it down, it's manageable. Now this, by the way, is my first attempt at TOA Hard Female. I've never been able to kill Leo Ragdoll. So we'll see how well this transfers over. Should be all the same. I'm not expecting too many issues at this point. So the first one we have is Incarnation of Green. That is going to be the green color split. This chick is bad and scary and really bad and really, really, really scary, just in case I haven't made that point clear yet. The green one, whenever you hit her, she absorbs attack bar. And if you hit her too much, she'll just run laps around you. You'll get overwhelmed and destroyed. If the green incarnation happens to be one of the splits, not the actual boss itself, you can Oblivion the green one and it'll go away and stand there and do absolutely nothing, which Tesarian gets used quite a lot for this. The problem with that is that if the boss is the green one, you cannot Oblivion it, so that tactic doesn't work unless the green gets pushed out. Now the red split, or Vendetta, is very simple in design. Every time you hit the red one, it will counterattack that person that hit it. It is very problematic if you have a very squishy member on your team. With this team, it shouldn't be that big of a deal at all. It's infinitely less scary than green. And then you've got blue, which is Incarnation of Protection, which is the holy grail of Lyrith. That one is super easy mode. The blue one has huge defense, so it doesn't take a whole lot of damage when you're fighting it, and its damage is based on defense. So you can armor break the blue one, and you just completely cripple it. So ideally, with the team we're bringing, we want the boss to stay blue the entire time. If it does, you armor break it, and then you win. If the boss turns red, you're going to attack it in basically the same manner, but you need to be prepared for relatively large retaliate damage coming from the boss. So you're going to want to be focusing on keeping the red one attack broken, and there's going to be times where you're not going to want to attack the red guy, especially with your squishy targets, even more especially if that squishy target is low on life or is armor broken. When she turns green, I'm literally going to turtle up, try to take as little damage as possible, let her do her thing, and wait for her to change into a different color that is more manageable. And then the last bit is at the end of her split phase, where she tries to reabsorb the splits. If there are no splits for her to reabsorb, she will get stunned. Either way, she will pull all the debuffs off of her, so keep that in mind as well. And just like we were talking about before, we don't want to use Spectra's slow right here, because as soon as she splits, she's going to cleanse herself. So now we want to use Spectra's slow. Unfortunately, it's not Spectra's turn. Also, we don't want to waste Gildong's stun on things that aren't slowed, because they are not going to get stunned. So right here, we're just going to start our debuff phase. We want to keep everyone nice and full, so we're going to buff up and get the armor break. And I'm just going to auto attack the boss, I think, a little bit. I want Spectra's turn to come around and slow everything, and then I want to stun everything with Gildong, and then from there we can really kind of open up on everything. Right here, it's a little bit tricky on what to do. I'm thinking about trying to stun one of the incarnations with the Mav auto attack, but I don't really want to do that. So let's slow both of them, and then we'll stun both of them, and then from here we don't have to worry about the green guy counterattacking me, or the green guy revenging me and stealing my attack bars. We don't have to worry about the red one counterattacking me. We just got a blue guy that has a bunch of defense and doesn't take any damage. By the way, it doesn't show you what color the boss is, but you have to know that there's a green, a red, and a blue. The green and the red one came out, so the boss is now the embodiment of the blue one. So it's going to auto attack me. It's going to do that AoE nuke / armor break that we just saw, and then it has high defense. That's what we have to worry about. So right now we want to load up dots on the two side incarnations to kill them. We want to keep the green one stunned forever, because the green one does not absorb your attack bar when you hit it when it's stunned, and then the red one does not revenge you when it's stunned. We're much less worried about that, but we definitely want to keep the green one either oblivioned or stunned or don't hit it. Occasionally you'll have an option where you're like, well, it's not stunned now, should I ignore it or do I hit it with Mav to try to stun it? And that's going to be a judgment call every time. So right here, we're just going to try to get as many Spectra slams into this boss as possible. If all goes perfectly, I don't even think I'm going to be targeting the outer incarnations with anything. I'm just going to let them die to Baretta dots. More than likely, some of the stun won't be perfect, and I'll probably end up hitting them with some Mavs or debuffing them a little bit. But for the most part, I'm planning on just burying into the boss here. So right now, the green one came out and the red one came out, so we want to ignore them until Gildong's turn comes up, and Mr. MVP broken overpowered stun, make sure that he takes care of stunning those for us, then we can get back to just punching this boss in the face. It'll take a little bit of time. As you can see, the boss has a decent amount of life, but in reality, considering the only damage in here is a Spectra, it's going quite quickly already. And something to note there, aside from Gildong just making these two incarnations his bitch, he's also providing the armor break that's making Spectra do quite a bit more damage. Spectra does 8k right there on not a crit. My Spectra has very low crit because Leo Ragdoll is the bane of my existence, and Jultan's kind of an asshole too. And unfortunately, I have my whole team ruined around them because, for the most part, no one else really matters. No one else really gives me problems. So if I ever find a completely separate way to deal with Leo Ragdoll and Jultan that don't involve these guys, I would actually like to get Spectra's crit up high for more damage and Gildong's crit up high for more glancings. As it is right now, I'm using a couple literally weaker runes on the two of them because they're lower on crit rate. And we just saw Gildong's third perfect stun. He's stunned both of them 3 times in a row now. I expect that he won't miss a stun the entire thing as long as Spectra can keep a slow on it. I can't believe they haven't nerfed that by now. It's amazingly broken. There goes the red one. I don't think I touched it at all, just let it die from Baretta dots. There goes the green one. Now you'll notice in the top right corner there's a 2. That 2 is counting down. After she gets another turn, it's going to switch to 1. Once it gets to 0, then she's going to try to reabsorb the incarnations that are dead, the ones that aren't there anymore. Because there's no incarnations there, she's going to get stunned, and it gives you just kind of like a free turn, which is pretty awesome. It's really easy to kill the incarnations without really doing a whole lot to them, just with Baretta dots, if you have a Baretta here. a lot of people forego the dots, and then you've got to actually pour damage into those incarnations, which slows down your damage and your attack bar manipulation on the boss. I prefer to do it like this. Works very, very smoothly. At this point, I'm still trying to keep, aside from trying to keep her from going just so she doesn't punch me, I want to keep her from going extra bad because I want that counter to stay as high as possible, because I like that she's in blue right now, and I want to keep her in blue as much as possible. When that drops down and she tries to do the absorb and then gets stunned, when she comes out of that stun, she's going to split again. And she's either going to go back into blue, and then we automatically win. She's going to go into red, and then we still probably win, but she's going to kick the shit out of us. Or she goes into green, and then I got to turtle up for an entire phase and wait for her to go into a color that isn't terrible. Side effect right here, Mav's in here because he's amazing, and we want all of the cooldowns to get reset on just this whole team of magic buttons. But it's also super convenient that she does a nice AoE armor break, and I've got Mav that can pull it off for me, which is super critical when the boss is the red one, because the boss is going to be kicking the shit out of you. You do not want to stay armor broken for 0 seconds more than you have to. And it looks like even when things go well, I can't lock her down 100% with this team. It's not like, Baretta missed 15 turbulences in a row. Just regular stuff's happening, and she is gaining turns. So eventually we're going to see, looking at her attack bar, at least 2 colors, maybe a 3rd color. It all kind of depend on, it's probably going to get close looking at the bar. Hopefully, it'd almost be nice if she switches to green so you can see me turtle through it, and then switches to red so we can see one of each color. Secretly, I really don't want her to go to green. If I kill her right now, this is going to be my first kill. So I'd also be fairly content with her just being blue twice and then giving me, my legendary scroll. But we'll see what we got. We're going to keep trying to mess with this chick's attack bar. She's already armor broken, so we don't really want the 2 damage from Gildong's 3rd, so we're just going to save that armor break for whenever we're going to need it next. It probably would have came around, but I want it there. It's not a huge damage thing, but it's 240 a pop. So it totally wasn't worth pushing. I talked myself into pushing it, thinking that, oh shit, it'll be around next time I need it. Basically no one on this team is doing any damage except Spectra's number 2. Basalt's number 3 hits for slightly more than 0, but nothing compared to Spectra there. It just hit for 780 because it didn't crit. It crits for a decent amount, but nothing major. Spectra non-crit is like 8 or 9k, so that's where all your damage is coming from. And I might actually get her below half before she does the split. If not, I'll probably get her below half before she comes out of the stun right here. Notice that she cleansed herself right now. So right now is when I'd want the armor break, and I don't think I'm going to have it. Yeah, still 3 turns. So I talked myself into pushing it, which was 100% the wrong button. You would have wanted to save the armor break, used it on that last Gildong turn, and get more damage in during this easy stun phase, which hopefully would prevent a 3rd split. We'll see. If I barely get a 3rd split, we'll be able to 100% blame it on me using that armor break. So now I notice I use the armor break now because it was there and I wanted damage inside of this stun. That might have also been the wrong answer, because she's gonna come out of this relatively soon unless I get really lucky with turbulence. And well, that's nice because Gildong just violated 16 times and failed to put up the armor break again. Thank you, sir. When she comes out of this, she's going to cleanse herself, and I'm going to want the armor break there. Hard to tell ahead of time which one would be more important, but we'll you know, we don't have a time machine, so we used it. We'll see if we end up regretting not having it in the future. Although it came back again. So now we got the armor break up, and we got another violent proc from Gildong. So Baretta is just been on point here. This chick's been in stun for a long time. And that's not just Baretta, but Baretta's turbulence is a huge factor there. But we're also getting pushbacks from Spectra and Basalt. Now at this point, with her being armor broken, we definitely don't want to use Gildong's armor break. We want to save it for the next thing, and we definitely don't want to use it just for the damage. So let's try to push this chick back and see if we can squeeze in another turbulence here. I don't remember. Yeah, it's off cooldown. Let's get it. Alright, so we should be good here. Yeah, we've got half a bar. We might even get another one out. We must be getting better knockbacks now than we were before, because she's gone quite a long time without having a turn. Now, her turn is so low, I don't want a turbulence there, but I think if no one else gets a pushback, she might get her turn before me. Okay, cool. I barely got it in there, and he missed it. So at this point, she's going to come out of her stun. There's not really a whole lot I can do. I can delay it a little bit with that Spectra thing. I don't think we're going to get it to lap all the way around to another, turbulence. So she came out of the stun. She didn't cleanse herself yet, but she's going to split into the colors again. And when she splits, that's when she's going to cleanse herself. So we want to make sure we have all of our debuffs available for that. So we'll go ahead and, nice, we turbulence her. We want to keep her in this phase because right now she's not doing any scary shit, and there's no incarnations next to her doing scary shit, and we like it just like that. Where is this thing? That's the, there's the merge. So yeah, when she, oh no, that's the merge. That's not what's coming next. We're looking for the split itself. Donde está? There we go. Yeah, so when she splits, she will cleanse herself as well. So we're going to need to make sure that armor break's available. The next time she gets a turn, she's going to pull all that shit off of her. So we want to also make sure that Spectra's slow is available, because we need to be able to slow the two incarnations. That way Gildong can stun the two incarnations. So it looks like we're about out of this free phase. Yeah, she just got a turn. Actually, that was nice of her. She just took a turn, but she did not do the split. So she cleansed herself. I guess she cleanses herself when the stun ends. And then she cleanses herself again when she does the actual split. So that's a whole extra cleanse that I wasn't envisioning, or just never noticed. But just basically gives us an extra free turn to go to town on her right now without having to deal with her doing anything special and without having her incarnations around. It's fairly inevitable though. Like, she's not going to stay like this forever. We're going to see one more color. Her bar is low enough where I don't expect to see two colors, but we'll see how that goes. If you notice, I'm hitting her for less and less. She does get stronger as the fight goes on, but it's not, it's more of just a time delay thing. She doesn't have those kind of super death numbers where she's going to be one-shotting you, except when she's in the red phase. But at the same time, the red phase isn't the scary one for me. I would much rather her be red kicking the shit out of me than green just ruining my life. At this point, I could go for some sort of color just to change the pace around. I feel like we've been in this dead lull for quite a long time with Spectra just barely tickling her to death. And it's gonna happen real soon, like, unless... turbulence. Got another turbulence. Baretta's been quite on point with that. He fails that turbulence like way more than I find acceptable, but he's done a pretty good job for us tonight. See if we can maybe get... Oh, I was thinking we might have gotten... Oh, a violent proc into a Wings of Change wouldn't have gotten us another turbulence, but it will actually. We'll get another shot at turbulencing this chick before she goes. See if we can lock her down again. That one did not work, so unfortunately, she's going to get her turn at the next one. We can delay it a little bit with Spectra and Basalt, but we're definitely not going to prevent another split here. So there's the split, and so she's red this time, and the reason you know that is because she kicked out the green and the blue one. So the green one we're going to treat the same, like we're not going to touch it unless we stun it. The blue one is what the boss was, so we just want to keep that one armor broken so it doesn't kick the shit out of everyone. And then the red one is going to be counterattacking us every time we hit it. We want the red one to stay attack broken the entire time, because it's going to start to hurt really bad. So right now, this opening phase is kind of a lot of decisions as to what to do. If I hit the boss with Spectra, she's going to counterattack me. If I hit the blue one with Spectra, not a whole lot happens. So more or less, we're just trying to bide our time here until we can get the two outer incarnations slowed, then the two outer incarnations stunned, and the boss attack broken. So that's why I'm hitting that blue one, because there's no real consequence to hitting the blue one. So now we got the Spectra slow up. The next turn for Gildong, we're going to stun those two outer ones, and then we can focus on debuffing the red one and dealing some damage. Definitely going to turbulence the red one, and 4,500, not too bad. Her counterattack also cleanses you. So you'll notice, Gildong and Baretta, and Spectra now are missing their speed buff. They're also going to be losing these armor buffs, but that's just something we're going to have to deal with. So the blue one came out. We don't care about that one. The green one is stunned, so we are laying down the Baretta dots. We want to kill these slaves, at least the green one, so that we don't have to worry about her being out of stun. The blue one doesn't bother me so much. If the green one died and the blue one didn't, I'd probably be a lot less worried about getting the AoE slow and stun out. But either way, it's there we go. Finally, we got this damn attack break on the red chick, and you'll notice the damage went from like 5k on a return to like 1,500 into the Gildong, and then 2,500 into the Spectra. Getting the attack break on the red chick is huge. Now we didn't Baretta dot there because I didn't want to hit the green one while she wasn't stunned. I'm going to go ahead and heal back up. Now we can start AoEing again because the green one's stunned. The next Baretta turn we'll get some dots out. Start racking these dots up on the incarnations. Yeah, 1,500. We can take 1,500 retaliates all day. 930 into that Gildong because it didn't pull the armor break off. That was nice. So this last wave started off a little bit rocky, just trying to get the slow and the stun up on everything, and then at this point, it's pretty autopilot. Fucking Baretta didn't get his turbulence. Right after I was giving him praise at sucking less than usual at getting turbulence up. So hopefully we have another Gildong stun in our pocket. No knockback. Let's go ahead and hit the boss. Ooh, kick the shit out of me. Alright, cool. We got a Gildong stun that green one. Notice I don't believe Gildong has missed a stun this entire level, like counting all three waves. In fact, he's also at least once applied the slow on his first one and then got the stun because Spectra sucked at doing her job. Turbulence just failed a second time. I'm going to have to refrain from giving my units encouragement because then they slack off apparently. So we've lost our attack break and, well, we've lost basically everything on the boss. We really want to get the attack break back on the boss. Glancing would be sweet, and we want to get an armor break back on the boss so we can start doing damage again. I don't think I want to stun the blue one. I don't really care about the blue one. So I don't want to waste the Gildong stun while the green one's already stunned. So now that that green one's out, my next Gildong turn will be to stun everything. Now you'll notice I'm hitting the blue one sometimes, not necessarily to get something done on the blue one. I'm hitting the blue one so that I don't hit the red one and get retaliated with that unit. Basalt on Mav can get hit by the red one all day. Baretta, Spectra, and Gildong, not so much. If they've got an armor break on, or if the boss has an attack break on, we're alright. There we go. But with Gildong, it's scary. I don't want to attack her without the attack break, but if I don't attack her, she won't get the attack break, so you kind of have to pick there. With Baretta and Spectra, it's easy to just go, I'm not touching that chick. It's scary. Alright, we got another heal. We're still feeling pretty good. I think, I've taken some damage, but definitely don't feel overly scared in this. And this is the one where you would take the most damage, the most unavoidable damage, just because the retaliate adds up quite quickly. And you stay in it for a long time. The green one ends up getting her attack bars super quick, so she'll cycle through the phases, but she's not hitting you every time you hit her. So you just end up kind of losing that phase a lot. And right after I say that, my Spectra and Gildong got kind of low. I basically just need to stop talking, because if I say words, then the exact opposite happens. So that blue one's dead, which in hindsight was maybe a bad thing, because the blue one I can hit with free reign, and that Spectra's getting kind of low. It would be nice to have a blue one to attack right now and not have to worry about getting revenged. So let's stun this green one, and then we get a couple turns of hitting the green one if we need to, before the green one kills itself from dots. I actually think when the boss is red, I'm probably going to maybe Baretta dot a little bit less, and maybe get an armor break onto the green one and kill the green one with some Spectra damage, because I definitely want the green one gone so I don't have to worry about it, but I kind of want to leave the blue one there so that I have something that's safe to hit. And that, ladies and gentlemen, while I'm rambling, is a TOA Hard female clear. That is my first one. Pretty excited about that one. Gonna go ahead and open that scroll, get me, a retouch or something shiny. Go ahead and cycle through these monsters real quick that I'm using before I open up my retouch, and then after I get that retouch, then we'll use the retouch in our next video. We get to see him do something cool, like kick the shit out of everyone on my arena defense, which would be quite glorious, because I don't have one right now. Or don't have one that works very well right now anyway. Oh, Basalt, you sexy beast. By the way, if you guys don't have a Basalt built and you have one, you should. If you don't have a Basalt, I would use a Talc or an Amin in his place. And if you don't have a Gildong, I would use a Wound Hack, the black Taoist, in his place. Alright, let's clear some room so we can open a bunch of fodder scrolls before, get all the shitty scrolls out of the way before our retouch. See, we got 2 legendaries and 2 mystical scrolls. So let's open up some shitty ones, some social summons, get all the junk out of the way, and then open up something shiny. Alright, mystical scrolls. Sweet, some Aiden drops. Alright, let's see what we got. Fucking Lucian. Thank you, senor. I just need, one more Lucian, and then I'll fuck shit up on my arena offense team. What do we got? Ritesh? Oh, fucking Kobold Bomber. I have like 4 of those things, and I don't have a bomber team, because I don't have Tiana, and I don't want to do it without the Tiana. But either way, super stoked on that Lucian. Let's get that guy locked. We'll get him leveled, and hopefully you guys will see something from him in the near future. I definitely think I quote-unquote need or want 2 Lucians for arena offense, but I'm sure I could find something to do with a single Lucian. Alright, guys, that was a long one. If you're still here, thank you very much for sticking around. And as always, if you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments, like, and or subscribe. Thank you very much. See you next time.